Welcome to the Lake Show, brought to you by Fort Loudoun Lake Association, right here in beautiful downtown Knoxville, Tennessee. I'm Angela Howard. I'm the Executive Director for the Fort Loudoun Lake Association, and I'm here today with one of our zone managers, Kirk Forgety, and he's going to tell you what we do from a zone manager's point of view at the Fort Loudoun Lake Association. Welcome, Kirk.
Hi, Angela.
So what the audience may not even know is what makes up Fort Loudoun Lake. What is the area that is our jurisdiction as an association?
Well, the Holston and French Broad River come together to make the Tennessee River, and it covers 56 river miles from the forks of the river down to the dam, the Lenoir City Dam, and that is about 360-something miles of shoreline that we cover. So we have a lot of ground to cover, and we have the entire Fort Loudoun Lake broken up into 8 zones. And in the upper right-hand corner is approximately the forks of the river, and the Holston drains northeast Tennessee, while the French Broad drains the southern part of the state. And that's just north of Knoxville, and that's Zone 1. Zone 1 and 2 is referred to as the no trash zone here in downtown Knoxville, where 1st, 2nd, and 3rd Creek come into the river. And Zone 3 starts the Alcoa Highway Bridge and goes down past Sequoia Hills Park. And 5 and 6 go down through Concord area. And 7 and 8 is down around Choteau, and then 8 is near the dam.
Oh, that's great. So it looks like section 1, 2, 3 really is the visual that the city of Knoxville has. Is that right? Right. So, and that's been an area that one zone manager has been taking care of, because we really need one person to be focused on that. It's a lot, actually. And we have a lot of commercial density down there, and our marinas are down there. So what are the kind of things that a zone manager does, let's say, in zone 1, 2, 3?
We have 3 workboats, and one of our workboats is based at Volunteer Landing, and that takes care of the no trash zone in downtown Knoxville. And
what does a no trash zone mean, actually? Explain that to the audience.
Well, we try to take preventative measures to keep litter from entering the lake. So in downtown, we have 3 urban streams that flow into the river, and we have a boom at the mouth of those streams to try to catch litter as it enters the lake, and we try to catch it right at the source, and this is a good image here. The picture on the left that's 1st Creek up near Fountain City, and that boom is actually made by a group of elementary students using milk cartons.
And a boom actually means just a barrier that would catch anything that flows downstream to keep it from going into the main channel. Is that right? Right. And this 1st Creek starts up at Fountain City, and it comes all the way down Broadway. So if we have some people up there that aren't so clean, then what happens to us down at Volunteer Landing? Well,
it follows the street right along Broadway. So every parking lot flows right into 1st Creek. And it is a major trash producer.
And if there's ball games and things like that, does that really affect 1st Creek?
Yes, especially if it's a late evening game where people are tailgating all day long. A lot of it, like I said, it goes from the parking lot to the ditch and eventually into the creek, and so we end up dealing with it.
And dealing with it means what? How do you keep that clean?
We maintain our 3 booms using our boat. We bag up all this litter. After a good hard rainstorm, there may be a dozen bags of trash that end up in the water. So we bag all that up and drop it off for the city to pick up, and it's a never-ending thing. The litter never stops, it seems.
Well, is there we do some educational programs where we do help teach people not to throw their trash on the side of the road, on the side of the creek, overflowing dumpsters, that kind of things, right?
Right. We do some educational work. We do some workshops with local businesses on how to clean their parking lots and how to not pressure wash and litter down the storm drain. We also do some volunteer work with local high schools and things like that, for local parks and things like that, along the Greenway Lenore City Park is a good example.
Mm-hmm. And isn't Fort Loudoun Lake Association pretty much the only entity that's out there garbage collecting on the river?
We are. There are a lot of lakes in East Tennessee, and some of those lakes have a little volunteer group that may organize something once a year, but we are a full-time organization, 5 days a week. We're on the water, trying to keep it safe and keep it clean.
That's good to know, because we have all these wonderful events that happen on the lake, like the wakeboarding tournament. Mastercraft comes and shows off their new boats. And we have all the wonderful restaurants along the river, the lake. And we have all this recreation. What does it look like? Do we have an image of what it looks like, just a regular day of one of you guys on the boat with a bunch of bags of trash? Do we have that image?
This is downtown Knoxville. If you can see on the right-hand side, the yellow, that's one of the booms at First Creek. And I think that's the same kind of skimmer like they would use in the Gulf when they have an oil spill. So we have some high-quality equipment there to catch all of this stuff that comes out. And that's what we maintain every day in the no trash zone, trying to catch things as they come out into the lake.
So what are we looking at now, Kirk?
These are two images. I took both of those pictures. The one on the left is the front of my workboat, and in the lower right-hand corner is a lawn chair that I pulled from the lake, and all of those logs piled up came from the shoreline of one of our donors that lives in Loudoun County.
Well, so let me ask you this, because what the audience doesn't know, that you are a boat mechanic also.
Right.
So tell me, if those logs were left in the lake and somebody didn't see it and ran over one of those things, what kind of cost to a boater would that be?
Well, props are very expensive. I've actually seen boats come in that the lower unit is ripped completely off.
By some debris in the water.
Yeah, or imagine being on an inner tube or a set of skis and hitting something like that, going 30 miles an hour. That's very dangerous.
I can't. And then that dock. I mean, what if you're on a big or a large yacht and you happen to look away and that dock floats in front of you? What happens to a boat like that?
Well, the concrete dock that was on that slide was a runaway dock that was floating. That was also in Lenore City area. Something like that, I would be mostly concerned about bass fishermen at night, because they go flying across the lake often in 2 o'clock in the morning, and you can't see.
And I've had someone else on the show that said that really it's not so much what you see above the water, it's what's lurking a couple inches right on top and below. Is that right?
That's right. That's the most dangerous logs in the water are the ones that you can't see.
So what would happen to Knoxvillians, the recreational, the swimmers, boaters, if we weren't around?
It wouldn't take very long for the lake to go downhill, I'm afraid. We remove so much debris and litter from the lake. If our organization was not around, it wouldn't take very long to see a major decline in the quality of Fort Loudoun Lake.
For the boaters, even for the people who live there and accumulate these things in their coves. Do coves really accumulate a lot of bad stuff?
Logs. I found a lot of construction equipment, believe it or not, barrels, boards full of nails, railroad ties.
You're not telling on people, are you?
Well, I'm just saying, I mean, you wouldn't believe some of the things we find in the lake.
I guess some people think that if they don't want something, they can just throw it in and it goes downstream.
Right.
And what happens to our downstream neighbors?
Well, we all live downstream from somebody, so it takes a community-wide effort to take care of the lake, and I don't think people realize they throw something in the water or even out of the window of their car, it eventually ends up in the lake.
And there's another whole aspect of this called stormwater, right? And stormwater is all this runoff, whether it be from construction sites, buildings, just people's houses. How does that affect the streams that you end up cleaning the booms of?
I think the majority of the pollution is things that you can't see, unfortunately. Cars that are leaking oil, antifreeze, things like that. But water runs down the storm drain straight into the stream and then into the lake.
I know that the city of Knoxville and even the county, they do the best they can to try to prevent things ending up in our river. But sometimes it's overwhelming, especially when there's been a big rain. and we have those the water overflowing. Tell us about some of those stories.
Well, we do certain water quality testing throughout the year. We test for E. coli, and we take samples from different parts of the lake. And the quality of the water is surprisingly clean as far as germs. But
cleaner than what, though? I mean,
well,
would you drink it?
No.
Okay.
No, I wouldn't. No, I wouldn't eat the fish. I'm not afraid to swim in it, but I wouldn't eat the fish. And
do you think our river can be cleaner?
Oh, certainly.
And what do you think that would take, actually?
It just takes a community effort to make it important.
Make it important so that we're getting at the source of the pollution, and if we can't stop that as much, get down to where before it hits the lake like we do, and clean out the booms and test it to see where it is coming from?
Unfortunately, we can't affect what happens upstream from where we live, but here in Knoxville, we can control our part of the lake. And the Tennessee River sort of starts here in Knoxville.
Yeah, it does.
So, you know, I feel like if we don't take care of it right here where it starts, the people who live downstream from us don't have much of a chance.
Like Chattanooga?
Right.
They've had some problems with some of the things we were neglectful of. Now we've taken control of that. So what would you like to see from your point of view on the lake? I get just from listening to you that we're really the guardians of the lake. We're really keeping the lake safe and clean for recreation, for aesthetics, for tourism, for development. But what would you, if you could tell us, what would you like to see? What would be your dream? Say 10 years down the road, what would the lake look like to you?
That's a good question. I would like to see, you know, less litter entering the lake. I would like to see the waterway safer for boaters, less construction materials, less logs piling and littering the shoreline. Just a safer, more hassle-free boating experience for people.
And do you think that's going to take communication and awareness?
Certainly.
Wow. I want to thank you for being on our show. It's always wonderful to hear from the front line, the guy who's out there
It's great to be here
every day. So I really do appreciate it. And thank you all for joining us here on The Lake Show, and we will see you next week.